Good morning. We're going to get the show started here in, let's say 1 minute. So make sure you text your friends, hop into the live chat, say good morning when you get there. We're going to get the morning announcement started in just about 1 minute. All right, let's do it. It's time for the Morning Announcements. Morning Announcements on the Nightcat with Nightcat YouTube channel. Happy May the 4th be with you. Happy Star Wars Day, everybody. Also, listen, I know y'all love the Star Wars. I've never seen a Star War a day in my life. Not one single Star War. But May 4th is an important day for Arrested Development fans, too, because it's Cinco de Cuatro. And I'm very happy to be celebrating Cinco de Cuatro with my night kittens. Morning Announcements is the kitsch-minded morning show where we get you ready for the day, and I am your host, Nightcat. I'm so excited that you're here. We've got a great show coming up. I'm going to get you all caught up on the Morning Mews, so you got stuff to talk about when you get to work and school, and then we're going to dive into the book of unusual knowledge. I'm going to read some really messed up headlines that I'm sure sounded good in the author's head, but on paper, they just don't look right. So we'll dive into that in a second, but before we get into any of that, I realized yesterday, I take notes obsessively, okay? I'm always taking notes because I have to talk about things. I make 7 half-hour episodes of content every week. So I do 5 morning announcements, plus weekly, the Nightcat with Nightcat episode, and Curiosity Killed Nightcat, on top of all the social media stuff that I do. So in order to keep it all straight, I have to take notes on everything. What's going on in the day, what's going on in the news. But sometimes I get to these notes later, and they don't make any sense, or they're just too silly, or there's not really a story behind them to talk about. So I thought we'd go over the weird notes that I've left myself. Or I send text messages. That's another one I do. I text myself all the time. So I love this one, because I don't know what inspired it, but he sure does. You know who does a great job on TikTok? Dr. Phil. He really puts effort in, and I appreciate that. That's just the whole note. That's the whole note. Nothing specific. Not like, here's a link, go check out this video, play this video on the show. No, it was just, you know who does a great job on TikTok? Dr. Phil. Oh, by the way, after Veronica and I started seeing Dr. Phil on TikTok, we started watching some Dr. Phil, and both of us had never watched Dr. Phil because we kept hearing he was a quack. Turns out, Dr. Phil's great. And I will fight anyone who has a problem with Dr. Phil. I think he is very polite. I think he talks to these people the way that they need to be talked to. He's a very straight shooter, but he's always very kind and compassionate. Big fan of Dr. Phil right here. #1 fan. Love that guy. All right, this note is just surprise talk show. I don't know who's getting surprised. I don't know if the talk show itself is a surprise, or if my guests are surprised by something on the talk show, or if I'm hoping that maybe I end up on a surprise talk show. I don't know what that's about, but the whole note is just surprise talk show. This one is how to get blood out of fabric. Now, in my defense, I think this one was a Google search, because I was clipping Hoodoo's nails, and I clipped one too short, and then I got dog blood all over my sheets, so I think I meant to Google that, but I accidentally wrote it in the notes instead. I don't know how that one got there. I wasn't doing much research in that. Don't forget that time you got cat food stuck in your shoe. That's not anything. It's not even a real story. I was just out at the bar and I felt something in my shoe. I took my shoe off, dumped it out, and a little piece of cat food fell out. Which, I mean, is a good story, and it obviously illustrates just the severity of how single I am. But it's not a story that I can tell on the show. I don't know why it ended up in the notes. And then this one just says, tell them what happened to the snow cone. I don't know what that is at all. I haven't had a snow cone in like 3 years. I worked at a snow cone shack. A snow cone shack was my first job, but I genuinely couldn't tell you what happened to this. Tell them what happened to the snow cone. I don't know what snow cone you're talking about, Past Jackson. I have no idea what you're talking about. So, anyway, that's what's going on my phone. It's weird. Normally, it's very nifty. It's very useful, but sometimes it ends up looking like that, and it's just a pile of garbly-gook. So, surprise talk show. Whatever that means. All right, let's get into the Morning Mews. The Morning Mews is the part of the show where I go through some top pop culture headlines, just some interesting stuff that went down over the weekend or over the last couple days, and we talk about it. I want to get started with the Orem, Utah woman who had a baby on a flight to Hawaii, though. All right, so here's the story. She was flying to Hawaii, had no idea she was pregnant. And about halfway through the flight, an emergency call comes on asking for medical personnel. Do we have any physicians aboard? Do we have any nurses aboard? Well, luckily, they did. They had one doctor. He went back there to check stuff out. And then out of nowhere, 3 nurses from the NICU, the newborn intensive care unit, showed up. They have 3 premature baby nurses ready to go, which is good because they were able to successfully deliver the baby, and he was about 10 weeks premature. So they were able to actually take care of him because they knew what to do. Though they talked about how they had to do like field medicine. They had to use a shoelace to tie off the baby's umbilical cord, and they threw like water bottles in the microwave to warm him up, and that was like their baby heater. And they were able to keep him safe and healthy until they landed at the airport, loaded up the baby, got him to the ambulance. I don't know, there wasn't a whole explanation on why she didn't know she was pregnant or how that happened. I'm always fascinated by that, because I'm just like, man, I've seen pregnancy just destroy people. Like, pregnancy's not easy on anybody, I don't think, but it turns out you can just go the whole time and not even know. Every time I hear these stories, it's just bonkers. But, I mean, how lucky is that woman? She had 3 NICU nurses on the plane with her, ready to go and deliver her baby. Very handy. And, like, the story talks about how there was a doctor there, and the doctor was attending, but, like, mostly it was the NICU nurses that took care of that baby and got it delivered safely. So, great work, everybody. Everyone involved. The baby, as far as I know, got rushed to the NICU. He will be staying there. The mom was released pretty quick, but he'll be staying there until he feels healthy, and then they should both be returning to Orem pretty soon. This is bananas. I can't believe this. I want to know all the dirty details behind it. A woman missing for 5 months in Utah County was found alive. She was missing for 5 months in the wilderness, in the mountains, in the snow, with very little supplies. So she was 47. They're keeping her identity private for the time being. Maybe they'll release it later, I don't know. But a 47-year-old woman was reported missing after her car was found abandoned at a trailhead in Utah County. They went around to her work, asked her friends. No one knew about a trip that she was planning. She just suddenly was gone, right? So they start looking for her, and they have like a detective assigned to the case, and he's following leads, and they have a search party, but no one can seem to find this woman. So obviously she went missing in November. It's assumed that by now she's dead. But we still gotta find her. So over the weekend, they were using a drone. They were piloting a drone over the mountains to take a look, and the drone died and crashed. So they walk up the hill to try to find that drone, and they come across a random campsite. And they start to approach the tent when the tent opens, and the woman's head sticks out. She's like, what are you doing? And they were like, I think we've been looking for you for a really long time. So they call medical personnel, and they're like, we are very concerned about her safety and her health. You need to get down here. We need to do something for her. Now, at the very end of the article, they suggest that there might be a mental break. Like, she has some sort of mental illness, and now she's just decided that she's going to go be a wilderness survivalist and live out in the woods, which she actually could probably do pretty well, considering she made it all winter. So she took with her a small reserve of food, and I guess there were campers over the winter that were also out there that gave her a little bit of food, but mostly she survived on a diet of moss and grass. Straight up bunny food, straight up cow food, moss and grass is what she ate to keep going all winter long. So they believe that she was mentally ill. It sounds like she was up there on purpose, had some sort of mental break. So they took her to the hospital. They're evaluating her now, and they're going to get her nice and healthy after that. Very traumatizing, all winter in the wild. I hope she's okay, man. That's not so good. That doesn't sound like it's a cool thing. That's not a good thing. All right, Olivia Wilde can now sleep a little bit better after she got her restraining order against her stalker. We talked about this story a couple weeks ago. It's bonkers. So Olivia Wilde, who was she left her, I think they were married. She left her husband, Jason Sudeikis, to go after Harry Styles. They met while they were filming a movie. Well, during this whole situation, suddenly Olivia has this stalker who is showing up at her house. You see him on the security footage, and he starts leaving notes on her door about how they're going to end up together. And he was convinced that he was in a relationship with her. Now, I guess the restraining order also extends to her kids as well as her ex, Jason Sudeikis. But that's only because she listed him as living at the address during the incident. And reports from TMZ are now saying that that wasn't true. Jason Sudeikis never actually was living at the house when this all went down. By that point, they had already split up and she was seeing Harry. The scariest part about this guy that keeps breaking into her house or trying to break into her house and like stalk her is that he says when he found out that she was dating Harry Styles, quote, "I'm struggling to stay sane." Yikes. That's not so good, is it? So he has a 3-year restraining order. He can't go anywhere near her, Jason Sudeikis, or her kids, which, honestly, that should be forever. That should just be a forever ban, because, like, it's one thing if it's someone that is in your hometown, you're bound to bump into them from time to time in a small little town somewhere. Like, eventually, yeah, you're just gonna have to renew it or prove that they're still a threat or something. But as far as I'm concerned, Olivia Wilde is just gonna be famous for the rest of her life, and she's gonna have this guy stalking her probably forever. And like, she should be one of the few exceptions where you get just a permanent forever don't talk to me, because why not? It's not like she has an existing relationship with this guy, despite what he would say. And that is the Morning Mews. All right, let's check in on the chat. Let's see how everybody's doing. Good morning, Katie. Good morning, Marissa. Oh, Marissa, I saw you got rid of all your hair, chopped it all off. Good for you, girl. I'll bet it is so hot with a bunch of hair. Honestly, with the weather heating up, I walk outside, I have like no hair and I'm still sweating, just brrr. And then like, y'all have just blankets over your shoulders. It's just so hot. So I don't blame you. It looks great. Dog on Tea, good morning. Good morning, Shelby. Sadie, Dark Prince Zizor, happy Star Wars Day to you, my friend. Shelby, thank you. I don't feel like I'm missing anything from the Star Wars universe either. I've never seen a Star Wars, don't really plan on it, though I hear The Mandalorian is very, very good, and I like Jon Favreau, so maybe. Dr. Oz is a quack. Dr. Oz is like the world's biggest quack ever. Oh, Katie, if Snow Cone Shack was your first job, honestly, it was the best. I was like 13 when I got that job. But if anyone asks, I was 14 when I started because 13 would have been illegal. And I hated the job back then because my boss was so mean to me. He was the worst. And like, I was the only guy that worked there, and he babied the girls, so I did all of like the grunt work, all of the scrubbing, all of the cleaning and stuff. But had I known then what I know now about horrifying, horrible workplaces, I would have kept that job for the rest of my life. I had a portable DVD player. I would walk over to the Blockbuster. I'd stop by. I'd get a $5 Little Caesar. And then I'd just watch movies, eat pizza, and snow cones all day long. Then like every 15 minutes, maybe I'd have to get up and make a snow cone, which takes 0 time. Best job ever. Ugh. I wish I could make real money doing that, but I made $4.25 an hour doing that. That was not so good. Good morning, Erica. Hello, dear. Hi, Michaela. Oh, you chopping off all your hair, Katie? Ugh, good luck. It is a bold decision, though. I gotta say, I support it. It's hot. You gotta do what you gotta do to stay cool and switch up your look or whatever. But, like, it took a long time to grow that. It's hard to say goodbye to it. So, you know, take your time with it. Don't just go willy-nilly buzzing your heads. I would be really upset later if I buzzed my head and I was just like, oh, but now I don't have any hair. All right. Oh, Doggone T also chopped off all of her hair. Best decision she ever made. Well, excuse me then. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to try to talk anyone out of it. All right, real quick, before we continue, I would like to plug our Patreon. Patreon.com/Nightcat Show. Preaching to the choir. I think almost everyone watching right now is a Patreon patron. But if you are not, Patreon is an awesome way that you can help support the show. Patreon.com/Nightcat Show. There are 2 levels of membership. There's a $3 level and a $5 level. Support at whatever level you can. If you can give a little bit more, that's great too. Sign up today because, you know, the reality is Patreon money is the only money that I can, like, count on. Everything else has just been, like, odd jobs, and occasionally, like, I'll sell some stuff, but, the real money that I'm making right now is all coming from the tours and from Patreon, and as long as I can count on that money, I can budget things, and I can budget for really cool promotions and fun stuff to do on the show, but, if I can't budget for that, then I just sort of have to keep it, you know, chill. I have a spending problem is what I'm trying to say. So if I don't have the budget for it, like, I end up spending money on stupid things. So if I have that money up front that I can count on, that I can budget for, I can save up and do really cool stuff with Nightcat. And that all starts with you becoming a patron. Patreon.com/Nightcat Show. Contribute if you can. If you can't, I totally get it. I do try as hard as I can to keep as much of this content free as I possibly can. But, you know, it's expensive. And if you can contribute a little bit, that would be great. Patreon.com/Nightcat Show. Join the other Night Kittens who have been super duper helpful there. Also, the True Crime Walking Tours, they are basically sold out. I don't have any tickets left. I think there are a couple for Thursday's tour, but there's not a whole lot. What I would recommend you do is hop into the link tree, linktr.ee/JacksonWitt. That's in the description of this video. If you click on that link tree, it will take you over to the True Crime Walking Tour waiting list. So, I'm planning on adding more dates. I'm gonna work out some details, and we're gonna get new dates and stuff up soon. If you would like to be notified when that happens, I have a Google form. You just put your name and your email address. I will send out an email to everybody when we have more tours. So hop on the waiting list for the Nightcat True Crime Walking Tours of downtown Salt Lake City. They are so fun. Literally just like the most fun ever. I would highly recommend it. I hope to see you there. All right, then I guess it's time for us to get into the book of unusual knowledge. This is just a bathroom reader. It's got a bunch of fun facts. And this is a list of flubbed headlines. And I highlighted the ones that I thought were really good, and I'd like to read them to you now. Okay, let's do this. I like this one a lot. Save the whale's trip cut short after boat rams whale. They didn't do much saving out there. I think they went against their own mission there. milk drinkers are turning to powder. Like in their head they meant if you're drinking traditional milk, you're moving on to powdered milk. But I just think you drink milk and you're just a pile of dust on the floor. Child's stool, great for use in garden. Obviously they meant furniture, but stool means poopy as far as I'm concerned. So, hey, go have your kids start pooping in the garden. Apparently it's great for the use in the garden. Babies are what the mother eats. So obviously you are what you eat. Babies are what the mother eats. But that's not what I heard. I hear you moms are out there eating your babies. That's what and I don't blame you. Honestly, they look delicious. I see those teeny tiny little hands. I see those teeny tiny little feet. I just want to put some popcorn butter on there and delicious. I'm just kidding. Don't tell anyone I want to eat babies. Oh my god. That would be a whole thing. Safety experts say school bus passengers should be belted. Okay, so obviously they didn't mean strike your kids. They meant put them in seatbelts. But I genuinely have never understood why we get into a car and they're like, wear your seatbelt, it'll save your life, blah, blah, blah. But if we suddenly stuff like 40 kids into a single vehicle, no one's got to wear seatbelts. Everything will be fine. And I vaguely remember one time when I was a kid, like my teacher telling me there was a really bad school bus crash and the kids were belted in and they couldn't get out. So it was like, you know, way worse. But I don't know that that's true. And I've never understood why we can just pack people like 100 to a bus and no one needs to wear a seatbelt. But if it's just me and my cat going to the veterinarian, I have to wear a seatbelt. I mean, I put my cat in a seatbelt too, but that's because I'm concerned for his safety, not because it would be illegal for him to not be in a seatbelt. Stolen painting found by tree. That tree is the greatest detective in the entire world. And this one's very good. Obviously, they're talking about college football, the Gators and the Seminoles. Gators to face Seminoles with Peters out. So I'm assuming the Gators had a player named Peters. We'll call him Greg. Greg Peters. Greg Peters could not play in this game. So the Gators obviously had to face the Seminoles with Peters out. Yeah, man, don't you hate when your Peters out? It's just the worst when Peters out. And that is the Book of Unusual Knowledge. I love that thing. It's so silly. Alright, let's see. We did Book of Unusual Knowledge. We talked about the Patreon. We talked about the true crime tours. We did Morning Mews. I read you some notes from my phone. I think that's it. Let's quickly double check here. Oh, thank you. Doggone T likes my coffee cup. I got it at a discount store for $1. And I was like, well, he's coming home with me. He's too cute. I know, Zizor. I understand that the car gets pushed around much easier than the bus, so you're more likely, I'm assuming, to get more injured because your car's gonna get crumbled or whatever. But what if the bus tumbles down a hill? I just blah, 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 blah. You're just gonna have, like, a bunch of kids in there. Like, you remember the old McDonald's shaker salads? Where it was just a cup with a lid? You put your dressing in, you shake it around? That's what it would be like, a bus full of children. Just like the McDonald's shaker salads. Alright, I think that's it. I guess I'm gonna turn it over to the fish then. Hey, go out and have yourself the day that you deserve. Okay, how does that grab you? Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.